Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, and I'm back with my plans and pans. Well, I want to tell you that this is one of the most challenging moments that I've experienced in my more than 24 years in Congress. And so let me summarize for you. Right now, we should have passed already a clean debt ceiling bill. That is, the Congress should have agreed that we should pay our bills. In fact, it's in the Constitution. I think I'm the only member of Congress who actually walked down with the Constitution kind of earmarked in front of the House of Representatives and said, the Constitution says very clearly that we have to pay our bills. That is, bills that have already been incurred. Like you have to pay your credit card bills. You can't decide not to do that. Well, that hasn't happened, and we are hearing from the Secretary of the Treasury that we really have to pay those bills. It hasn't happened yet. We have only a few days. And what the Republicans are saying, well, we'll do that, but only by holding hostage the people of the United States, saying that they'll only pay the bills if we agree to major cuts in benefits to the American people. I'm talking about the food programs, big cuts in spending. I mean, it's really dangerous. So now they're saying that unless we do that, then we could go into default. What does that mean? That means if the bills don't get paid, that means that we will start seeing things like Social Security checks not being able to go out, people's savings being dramatically decreased. It will really put the entire economy of the United States into a tailspin. But you know, the Republicans have been pretty blatant that the right thing to do is to hold the economy hostage. And that's why I had highlighted a couple of constituents. Janet from my district, I talked about her situation in a press conference with the Progressive Caucus. And I also highlighted Kelly, who's a veteran who is also very concerned that he could lose his benefits. Janet is on Social Security disability. The Republicans have been pretty open about the idea of holding hostage. And in fact, Matt Gaetz, one of my colleagues from Florida, said that the Republicans actually, quote, don't feel like negotiating with their hostages. I mean, that's what he said. He used the word, so it's in print. So as soon as I know if there is a settlement to this issue, I will send out an update that can go into details, hoping that we'll be able to just settle this thing down before disaster strikes. On a brighter note, I was able to celebrate with a number of advocates the Lymphedema Treatment Act. Now, lymphedema is the swelling of the lymph nodes. It is not curable right now, and the only solution for people that have lymphedema is to have compression garments that they can wear. They're quite expensive. I passed the legislation last year, but it'll go into effect in January of 2024. What the legislation says is that Medicare will have to cover the cost of these, can be expensive, compression garments. Now, what you may have noticed is that many times women who have had breast cancer surgery, that swelling in there, but it's not just a disease of women, sometimes children. A man that gave me an award at this wonderful meeting said that this was a real lifesaver for him. So a lot of people, I think, will benefit by this legislation. And I'm very proud to, along with my colleague Buddy Carter, Republican, we were co-sponsors of the legislation, were honored, and we were so happy to be at the celebration of the passage of the legislation. Social Security right now is pretty modest, and the average benefit per month is $1,500, some more and some even less. And women tend to have lower Social Security benefits, and that's because the years of lower wages compared to men, and men and women of color tend to have lower benefits. I participated in a press conference along with my colleague John Larson, who is the sponsor of Social Security 2100, a piece of legislation that would really update Social Security and make it better. This legislation would increase the minimum benefit so that it reached 25% above the federal poverty line, because sometimes the benefit, especially for people who have been on Social Security and been retired for a long time, is actually below the poverty line. It would help women who often have to leave the workforce by instituting a caregiver credit. It would also eliminate the windfall elimination provision, which would affect public service workers, teachers. This has been an effort going on for a very long time and would make more money available to retired public service workers. It would also eliminate the 5-month waiting period to get disability benefits. We get calls from our office about that. Just want to remind you that when talking about Social Security, it is an earned benefit. This is your money if you're on Social Security, because you have paid for it in every paycheck for every day of your working life. And so when people call it an entitlement, making it sound like it's some sort of a giveaway, it is not. It is your money. And I am hoping very much that we'll be able to make it better. That's Social Security 2100 is the bill. After over 80 years of inaction, the United States is finally updating its cosmetics laws to make them safer. But I took it a step forward by reintroducing legislation called the Safer Beauty Bill package to do things like protect consumers from toxic chemicals linked to hormone disorders, cancer, and other diseases, to require fuller disclosure of what is in these cosmetics, and that would close the fragrance and flavor loopholes. This package also focuses on protecting the health of women of color and salon workers. The average American, and that certainly includes a lot of men, use about 12 personal care products every day, and that amounts to 168 unique chemicals. We want to make sure it is safer now to get your beauty look, and also things that protect your skin and your children. I just love going to classrooms and talking to students. And last week I went to Sunset Ridge School in Northfield and talked to 5th graders. They were fantastic. Each one of the students had sent me a letter. That was a school assignment from their teacher to talk about what is the issue to them that is most important. And there was a long list of those. The number one issue was concern about animal welfare. They were concerned about wild animals, about dogs and cats. They were concerned that dogs and cats particularly were abused, but also endangered species. So it was a terrific group, and that is a priority of mine as well. And often near the top of the list of concerns that I see every week from my constituents, animal welfare is most often on the list. Second was the issue of guns and gun violence. And that is really typical when I go to schools. Kids have these drills all the time about a possible active shooter in the classroom and how to behave, so it's on their mind. A lot of concern about that. I heard from them about the environment. They are very concerned about doing anything that they can and wanting the government to make sure that they will have clean air to breathe. So it was a wonderful list of ideas that they had, things that they wanted me to deal with. These kids are really on top of it. So even though they had already sent me letters, about an hour or maybe a little bit more, I just took questions from them. They were interested in what my job was, but they were also interested in conveying to me what their priorities were. I think I've mentioned to you perhaps several times, what I said to them is that I used to say to school-age kids, kids that are not eligible to vote, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? I never say that anymore. I say to them, what are you going to do now? So we talked a little bit about that, how they can get involved. And I told them that writing letters to their member of Congress is a good start. So congratulations to you, I said. That's really it for right now. I will get back to you with an update as soon as I have one. And I thank you so much for listening. And I'll either see you sooner or I'll see you next week. Thank you. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.